In the bustling streets of New York City, where the skyline pierced the heavens like jagged dreams, Alexander first saw her. It was a rainy afternoon in autumn, the kind where the world seemed to slow down, and every droplet on the pavement reflected a fragment of forgotten hopes. He was rushing to a meeting, his briefcase clutched tightly, his mind a whirlwind of corporate deadlines and unfulfilled ambitions. But then, across the crowded crosswalk, amidst a sea of umbrellas and hurried footsteps, there she was, Ilara, though he didn't know her name yet. She stood under a Café Tilde copyright awning, her hair damp from the drizzle, and when a stranger bumped into her, spilling his coffee, she didn't scowl or snap. Instead, she smiled. Oh, that smile. It was like sunlight breaking through storm clouds, warm and genuine, lighting up her emerald eyes and dimpling her cheeks in a way that made the chaos around her fade into insignificance. Alexander stopped dead in his tracks, the rain soaking his coat, but he didn't care. In that moment, his world realigned around her smile. From that day forward, Alexander became a man possessed. He returned to that same spot every afternoon, hoping for another glimpse. He learned routine. She worked at a small bookstore nearby, the kind filled with dusty tomes and the scent of aged paper. Her name was Ilara Voss, a 28-year-old aspiring writer who spent her days recommending novels to dreamers like herself. Alexander, at 32, was a successful architect, designing skyscrapers that touched the stars, but his life felt hollow, built on foundations of solitude. He had loved once before, a fleeting college romance that ended in heartbreak, leaving him guarded and cynical. But Ilara's smile cracked through his defenses like a gentle earthquake. It took him a week to muster the courage. He entered the bookstore, pretending to browse, his heart pounding louder than the thunder outside. "Can I help you find something?" she asked, her voice soft like a melody. He looked up, and there it was again, that smile. "Actually, yes," he stammered. "I'm looking for a book that changes lives." She laughed, a sound like tinkling bells, and recommended The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. As she handed it to him, their fingers brushed, sending a spark through him. That was the beginning. Their first date was magical. Alexander took her to a rooftop garden he had designed, overlooking the city lights. They talked for hours about her dreams of publishing a novel, his passion for creating spaces that inspired, their shared love for stargazing. When she smiled at his jokes, even the lame ones, he felt alive, truly alive for the first time. "Your smile," he confessed under the moonlight. "It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." She blushed, her eyes sparkling. "And your love for life," she replied, "it's contagious." They kissed that night, a kiss that sealed their fates, igniting a love so profound it seemed destined by the stars. Months blurred into a tapestry of joy. Alexander and Ilara became inseparable. He introduced her to his world of galas and high-rises, where she charmed everyone with her wit and that irresistible smile. She pulled him into her quiet evenings in her cozy apartment, reading poetry aloud, dancing to old records in the kitchen. Their love was passionate, all-consuming. He proposed on a whim during a weekend getaway to the Hamptons, kneeling on the beach at sunset. "Ilara, your smile is my sunrise. Will you marry me?" Tears glistened in her eyes as she nodded, her smile brighter than the setting sun. They planned a simple wedding, dreaming of a future filled with children, travels, and endless laughter. But fate, that cruel architect, had other designs. It started suddenly, a persistent headache Ilara dismissed as stress from wedding planning. Then came the fatigue, the unexplained weight loss. Alexander noticed first, his worry lines deepening. "You need to see a doctor," he insisted. She smiled, always smiling, reassuring him. "I'm fine, Alex. Just overworking myself." But the tests revealed the unthinkable. A rare, aggressive form of brain cancer. The doctor's words echoed like a death knell. 6 months. Maybe a year with treatment. The world shattered. Alexander refused to accept it. He threw himself into research, consulting specialists worldwide, selling assets to fund experimental treatments. Ilara, ever the optimist, faced it with grace. "We'll fight this together," she said, her smile unwavering even as pain etched her features. Chemotherapy ravaged her body, her hair fell out in clumps, her skin paled but her spirit remained fierce. Alexander was by her side through every session, holding her hand, whispering stories of their future to distract her. "Imagine our kids running on that beach," he'd say. She'd smile weakly, "With your eyes and my smile." As the disease progressed, drama unfolded in waves. Ilara's estranged family resurfaced at her mother, who had abandoned her as a child, now seeking reconciliation for selfish reasons. Alexander confronted her, his protective love turning to fury. "You don't get to waltz backing now," he shouted in the hospital corridor. Ilara, from her bed, intervened with a soft smile. "Let her in, Alex. Forgiveness heals." But the mother's presence brought old wounds to light, revealing Ilara's painful childhood of neglect, which explained her resilient optimism as she had learned to smile through tears long ago. Jealousy crept into Alexander's ex, Sophia, a glamorous socialite, heard of his engagement and Ilara's illness. She slithered back into his life, offering support that reeked of manipulation. "You need someone strong, Alex," she purred at a fundraiser. He rebuffed her, but the seed of doubt was planted. Could he endure this alone? One night, exhausted and drunk on despair, he almost succumbed to her advances, but Ilara's smile flashed in his mind, pulling him back. He confessed to Ilara, tears streaming. "I'm so sorry. I love you too much to lose you." She forgave him instantly, her smile a beacon of unconditional love. "We're human, Alex. But our love is divine." The treatments failed one by one. Ilara grew weaker, her smiles rarer but more precious. Alexander quit his job, dedicating every moment to her. They traveled when she could to Paris, where they kissed under the Eiffel Tower, to a secluded cabin in the mountains, where they stargazed, her head on his chest. "Promise me," she whispered one night, "after I'm gone, you'll find reasons to smile again." He choked back sobs. "I can't imagine a world without your smile." She cupped his face. "Then remember it. Let it light your path." Tragedy struck in the final act. Ilara's condition deteriorated rapidly. In the hospital, surrounded by beeping machines, she slipped into a coma. Alexander stayed vigil, reading her unfinished novel aloud, his voice breaking. Friends and family gathered, but he barely noticed. When the monitors flatlined, he clutched her hand, begging the universe for one more smile. The funeral was a blur of condolences, but Alexander was numb, a shell of the man he once was. Grief consumed him. He wandered the city streets, haunted by memories. The bookstore where they met felt like a tomb. He isolated himself, pushing away loved ones, drowning in what-ifs. But in his darkest hour, he found her manuscript completed in secret during her treatments. It was their story, titled His Love, Her Smile, a testament to enduring love. Reading it, he felt her presence, her smile leaping off the pages. Inspired, Alexander published it under her name. The book became a sensation, touching millions with its raw emotion. Readers shared stories of how it healed their hearts, made them cherish loved ones. Alexander founded a foundation in her honor, funding cancer research, turning pain into purpose. Years later, on a rainy afternoon, he stood at that same crosswalk. A young woman bumped into him, spilling her coffee. She smiled apologetically, a smile reminiscent of Ilara's. "Sorry," she said. He smiled back, the first genuine one in ages. "It's okay. Life's too short not to smile."